will turn my volume up. I will turn y'all's volume up.
Oh, Kane will participate in that, but he won't talk about my attenuation stuff. Also,
Oh, you were talking about you said it before, and I just thought, like, if you're in, like, Kane, take your headphones off so I can talk shit about Kane while he's not listening. So I didn't mean, like, for me to keep them on. I'm high.
Yeah. If Kane acts weird, he's high. All right.
Also, I have no problem talking shit to Kane's face.
Well, with that said,
it's how they make friends in Canada.
Greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads. And as you may have guessed, this is an adult podcast that sometimes features adults, that sometimes use adult language. You have been warned.
Oh, I am one of them.
You can say sometimes features adults because some manel, but thanks, Dad.
So, first off, let's get announcements out of the way, aside from our disclaimer. I saw something at GameStop today that they have set aside for me that I can't buy right now because they said it's not supposed to be out on the shelf yet. So I'm getting it, and it's going to be a giveaway. So we're going to actually do another giveaway here soon. Probably, we're getting pretty close to 500, but we may give it away before then. So stay tuned. As far as anything else goes for announcements, we have Adonijah's game will be starting up fairly soon, and it's going to be in Open Legend. He has, so far, I think he has fairly well committed to bringing in, instead of going back to Moon, bringing in a changeling of some kind, a shapeshifter. So it's perfectly doable in Open Legend, should be good, should be fun. You can look forward to a new character with a different backstory, because it won't be Moon. Well, probably won't be Moon. Alright, I think that's all of the announcements that I have. Tommy, do you need to announce anything else before we go ahead and do this?
I do not, because we're super late, but I am curious, is your Patreon up enough to where you're doing regular giveaways again? Because I haven't checked, but I know your Patreon spiked a little.
Well, I mean, we got like 15... It's close, right around $15, 12 or 16 or something like that. I'd have to look at it again.
And wasn't the giveaway every month? Wasn't that at 10? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, so like whoever's in the giant tier.
The giant tier or higher, but I took that away. I took those off of the thing, so it'll probably be open to all patrons. So if you just want to get into the giveaways for $1 or something like that, or $2 or whatever, it's a pay what you want type thing for our content and our giveaways. But do be aware that the bigger
Ross, I tried.
the bigger our Patreon, the better the giveaways will be. So I mean, if we're only at like $16, don't expect a $100 giveaway. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. All right.
But you can't expect a box set of the original Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
Hey, that works out.
Treasure.
Yeah, that's worth about $16.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today, on Around the Hearth, we're doing another conversion, and it is going to be for Linkin Park's the song Numb by Linkin Park. This was suggested by Ross. And we're going to let him do his spiel about what he thinks what this inspires him to create with a character or a situation or something like that. So take it away, Ross.
All right, then. Don't be too excited now, man. Yeah. But yeah, so I chose Numb, the song, because, I don't know, I was feeling a bit angsty lately and decided to listen to Linkin Park. And I found a core thing about Numb interesting when you were asking for ideas and suggestions, and that is a lot of the song revolves around how the person, the protagonist, whether or not you see that as Chester or you see that as whoever singing it, or if you just kind of like, similar to poetry, you distance the poet and the person saying in the person in the poem, which is a lot of literary stuff that we don't have to get into to make this point. Essentially, the focus of the song is about a person who feels like someone who has authority over them. It's never explicitly stated. At first I thought it was a parent, but that's actually not true. It's just, I don't want to be like you. It's kind of implied it might be a parental figure from the music video with the person in the music video being young, but that's never actually, never in the lyrics does it directly state parents. So it's a song about someone feeling like they're being pressured into becoming someone that they're not by someone that's over them in terms of power. Which I always found interesting because one thing that stuck out to me is you never really hear about adventurers who become adventurers because they were forced to. Almost all the time you hear adventurers are people who want to go out and prove themselves or become this great hero, or they just want to make money, or some other third thing. I don't know. Religion's a funny thing. But, as we found out last session. But, it's just kind of interesting to me is kind of the idea of an adventurer who's not out there to be, an adventurer. They're out there because somebody else is making them be out there. Whether it be the wizard who's never really wanted to be a wizard, they wanted to just be some sort of, simple librarian, but because of some innate talent they have, they felt pressured by everyone around them to become something more than they wanted to be. Or just someone who became a profession they were not expected to be, maybe someone whose family's all a bunch of wizards but they want to be a fighter. Just that sort of idea of this pushback, sort of I want to be what I want to be, but you're not letting me be that. And I thought that would be really interesting to use for a character backstory and all that sort of stuff in multiple ways, because no matter how much you want to say you are your own person and whatnot, you are a product of your upbringing, and those above you do have power to shape and mold your psychological outlook on life and just various other things. So it does lead to a lot of interesting sort of psychology ideas, as well as just manipulations of classic tropes and archetypes, if you will.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think that'd be especially interesting with a paladin.
Indeed.
All right.
Because I enjoy taking things very literally.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed the trapped under the surface, that idea that they're. But I want to take that you literally have a second soul in you, and there are times when it
still explode
takes over. Oh. Okay.
Pop goes the microphone.
Pop goes his mic.
Is this any better?
Semi better.
Yeah, you're good.
Yes.
Okay. So the core idea being that there's more than one soul in the body, and that they want to become more like themselves because there are times when they literally don't have any physical control over the body because they're not the soul on top at that moment.
Right. I can see that one. That leads into playing with an occult class, or you could even go with an occult class that uses, if we're talking Pathfinder, you could go with an occult class that uses a Samsaran as its race, because Samsarans have multiple lives. So maybe buried under that surface, whether through memory or something like that. It could be a second soul. What if there are two souls that this Samsaran has been kind of trading off with, and this time they don't want to take a turn? They both want to be the one that's living the life at the moment. So it could lead into some interesting mesmerist. You could even go in a route similar to what Cain did with the... on a different note, you could go the route that Cain went with Ignatius, which wasn't necessarily a different soul, but a different personality that emerged with his mutagen. So...
At the docks you hide. I was going to say, it has written all over it, or a twin, or maybe even a what's the good one called? A synthesist. as a player, and I regret the person I did it with. They were not as like able or like even really want to be in a game when we did it. But I think if he wants to do it, though, I think after.
You're really cutting out, Tommy.
Okay, so it's not just me.
No, it was Tommy.
Okay,
big time robot.
There's something else. We'll see.
Oh, you guys all just pooped out on me.
You keep cutting in and out.
Yeah.
Are you doing something on your computer?
Critical mass.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Pass to someone else. Okay. Tommy passes.
Okay. I'll take a shot at it.
Okay.
And video unmute myself. The one of the verses goes, "Can't you see that you're smothering me, holding too tightly, afraid to lose control? Because everything that you thought I would be has fallen apart right in front of you." You know, that to me speaks not as the other side of that equation, the mentor, the parent, the person who's, training a young person up in the way they think is good, and see that, see young Skywalker fall to become Vader. And it's all because it's your fault. You would feel it's your fault.
It's your fault, Obi-Wan.
Pushed too hard.
That also fits in with another line deep, like in the third stanza of the song. But I know that you're as disappointed in me as someone else was disappointed in you. And that's a very big line and later on, which can definitely play into that idea, I think, that the master or the teacher is trying to do as they've been taught for generations. But that doesn't work. And they know it from their experience, but they still try to use it anyway.
Am I coming in clear now?
Better.
Never.
Yes.
I don't know who's telling the truth, though.
You are.
I'm just gonna
take it from the guy who always tells the truth. So there you go. You're coming in better.
Yeah, fair. Take it from the LG preacher man. Fair enough. Okay, so like I was trying to say, this has like the spiritualist from the Cult of Avengers written all over it. Same is true for various summoner archetypes that either clone yourself or like the synthesist. Two things become one, and you have that like struggle for dominance. And also it works for an alchemist, because I did that once with someone and I really liked the character. And pretty much everybody, well, not everybody here, I have a lot of friends now. Half the people here, they met that character as an NPC, but before that character was an NPC, that character was a character that I shared with someone. It didn't pan out as well as like it could have, given the other person and a bunch of details that the internet doesn't need to know. But the idea is I pick, say, like, Ross and I pick an alignment, Ross picks an alignment, and for X round in combat, or as far as RP goes at like important times in the RP, or set a timer or what have you, someone else is driving the character. Again, you have to have two people that are really into it, and I think after a couple sessions that gets kind of novel, and like you want to play your own thing, but it's the very classic hide, which relates back to the, like, as Levi was saying, the thing that is inside of you, and sometimes it asserts itself, and sometimes you're charitable, sometimes you rather just cut people open for fun, and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
I like those. I like all the. I think we're coming up with similar ideas for things, just that we're taking different flavors with them. One of the flavors that might be worth pursuing is, I don't play 5e, but if you play 5e, a warlock or something like that, you could go with you could just reflavor a sorcerer or a cleric. But the idea for that I have for perhaps a warlock is that this warlock has been given power by a fragment of a defunct, maybe Duke of Hell or cast out demon or something like that. Something powerful enough to grant something, but also something that was not that like the song says, disappointed its followers, and it wants to regain power, and it keeps trying to reassert itself, and you are the vessel that it's trying to reassert with. It's trying to use a thing that they do in the Elder Scrolls. That it's trying to mantle you. It's trying to use your body to become physical again, to have a ability to influence the physical world, because it can't. It's been stripped of that. And then using that as a growth point for your character. Does your character want to keep its powers? Does your character want to get rid of these powers? Does it see it as a curse instead? Does it want to overthrow that? Does it not want to be caught in the undertow anymore? Does it just want to live a normal life? So there's lots of ways to pursue that. And if you work with your GM, it might be more fun. I mean, if you're wanting to play a character that wants to pursue a normal life, I mean, getting rid of the possession by a Duke of Hell or a defunct Duke of Hell or something like that would take a bit of magic. So it could be its own quest in and of itself that you could drag your party along with you on.
And they all just want to live normal lives. Just don't let them, because there's that, which is also right up the alley of Pathfinder's Witch, because the witch has the Patreon block does. Yes, one of those classes and the other one, the Pathfinder class. The same idea applies. Really, honestly, it could be thing outside of like at session 0, like, hey, you guy in charge, I'd like to do this with my, or like whatever it is you're trying to play.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I immediately thought of Waco when I was yeah.
Not Arendelle. I'm disappointed. Poo. And 10 out of 10 would play Arendelle again.
Well, I like Arendelle better than Arendelle.
You're supposed to, because she's the local koala. Jammed into a bag of holding by my
Yeah. So, Arendelle.
Almost my Pathfinder was this close, because both Vivisectionist and Knife Master are in that game. But that's a different story.
Yeah.
Story for an LE time.
Which we may do at some point. But, let me see. What are we at? We're almost at 20 minutes. So, let's get some remarks that we want to get in here before we let this one be. Emmy, did you have anything you needed to say, Crypto?
Really the only thing is sort of going back to that whole parental figure thing, and even back to like not wanting to have your powers. That's sort of where Emmy from Rune Lords started off. So, and that did end up being an interesting story for me to explore, and sort of the progression from like not wanting to have powers to having to use them regularly and learning how to control them. So that was kind of fun.
Indeed. Could have definitely.
You keep cutting out.
Again, son of a. I didn't say bad words.
Oh, come on. You said bad words.
Advertiser friendly.
We're not advertiser friendly.
I will summon a Wendigo. I don't know how, but I've seen Until Dawn playthroughs.
Oh, you poor
this
thing.
Also works.
You don't know. Wendigos aren't summoned. They just come and find you.
I need to convince Kane to eat another.
No, then he becomes a Wendigo and goes after you.
Okay, sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is how that
works. Y'all have fun with that Wendigo thing. It'll take a while to get me down here in San Antonio.
Like
but
reverse
this would,
vampirism, as far as I understand.
the other thing that this would go along with is the Pathfinder drawback of doubt, because it indicates a self-doubting personality, and you're just numb because you just expect to fail.
Indeed. What I was going to say was, and I'm just going to keep talking until my internet craps its pants, I guess. But what I was going to say was, it kind of like if I were to go back and play them again in a different kind of universe, my original Rune Lord's character could have gone that way as well. I fully embraced the Tarzan-esque notion of being raised by a scary, terrible monster, but if you are stuck in the wilderness and somehow are lucky enough to learn how your brain works and aren't just a feral child forever, it's a high fantasy setting. We can believe in that, right? We believe in dragons. Like, trying to get out, but like, here come Big Mama Cat, pick you up by the nape, put you back, and start grooming your gross orc hair. And the recipe then becomes like I suppose, like, I think feral child is a druid archetype.
Yep.
But basically that character trope, trying to Tarzan into society.
Oh, so society becomes a thing he doesn't want to get caught in the undertone of. Okay.
On the note of Chester Bennington, that I didn't realize it until today when the music video came out. I knew that Lamb of God's guitar player, Mark Borton, has a side project and they put out an album. I didn't know one of the songs featured Chester, and the video came out today. Obviously, that's a problem because Chester, unfortunately, took his own life a year and change ago. And then when the video goes to live shots of the band, where the vocalist is just a mic standing there with a spotlight on it, and it is the best ever, and I'm still sad about it. Ross said he felt edgy in like Linkin Park. I said I was 14 once and played Linkin Park.
We were all 14 once upon a time.
We were all
we
were all young and edgy, or we thought we were.
But that band was definitely marketed to the teenagers, and that's why like the parental figure is there. And I know that because I was the teenager when that song was new. I'm dating myself all over Adam's internets. No.
All right.
Children.
Children. All right. Well, we have given our remarks. We have said our piece, and we're not. I wasn't feeling this one when it was first put out there, but I've come around. So,
you're not so numb to it anymore.
Yeah. Fine. Fine. If you got the pun and you could appreciate a horrible pun, then leave a comment below to say so. Otherwise, have a great day.
What if
God bless and enjoy. Bye.
If you have suggestions, leave them in the comments.
Have a beautiful time.
Thank you, American Dad.
This content was made possible by travelers and viewers like you. Thank you.